Caitlin Clark's golf debut just made me so upset with the WNBA.
Panic strikes the WNBA instantly. Following Caitlin Clark's celebration, the LPGA demonstrated that they have more brain cells than the WNBA. Let's face it, the WNBA should win a major Oscar for their stunning disregard for a superstar like Caitlin Clark. The LPGA, meanwhile, they have eagle eyes, I see. Seeing Clark's enormous potential, they swooped in and brought a new, youthful air to women's golf with her star power.
Because the LPGA just did everything that the WNBA should have been doing this season. They did it all correct in literally one day.
Respecting talent is the term for that. Naturally, though, the WNBA would not comprehend. They appear to be allergic to growth. Or perhaps they simply don't know how to manage a unique asset like Clark, who could genuinely provide a much-needed dose of oxygen. Rather, they keep making mistakes as the LPGA observes the expansion and success of their fan base. Watching it is nearly too terrible. Nearly.
You see her at this event. You see the kind of noise that this is making. You see that this is trending on social media. You see that SportsCenter, Bleacher Report, all of these places, every media outlet is covering this, and you don't say anything.
And where do we even begin with the WNBA? This marvel of ineptitude. The LPGA recently presented a marketing clinic that the WNBA ought to be documenting. But wait, the WNBA most likely believes it knows better. When Caitlin Clark received an invitation to an LPGA event, everything went well. We are discussing an eruption of excitement, an unprecedented influx of spectators, and a level of energy that made women's golf seem like the most fascinating thing in the world. The LPGA cannonballed straight into the water rather than merely dabbling in it. And it was quite profitable. However, the WNBA, they were too preoccupied with going through an existential crisis.
Like, they did everything they could to sabotage their own league. And yeah, it backfired. For me anyway, I think it's hard to argue that it didn't completely backfire for them, because Caitlin Clark is more popular than ever.
The LPGA really did know what they were doing. Caitlin Clark, a walking, talking sports sensation, caught their attention and said, "Yes, please." The outcome? Younger and more varied than before. Thousands of new followers flocked to see Clark's magic. The area was so brightly lighted that fire alarms might have gone off. Women's golf received a much-needed boost. And the LPGA appeared to be brilliant in embracing her star power. Clark was called by Nelly Korda herself a breath of clean air, and guess what? She was telling the truth that it seemed like history was being made, a time when you could just sense the sports advancement in real time.
The LPGA was promoting the crap out of this event. And they also did something really smart by pairing her up with their currently #1 golfer in the world. And her name is Nelly Korda. So there are photos of Caitlin and Nelly literally everywhere.
Then there's the WNBA, which is like an envious ex, pouting in the background. Rather than viewing this moment, they became stupidly defensive when there was a great chance to promote all women's sports. The WNBA was that one person in the corner murmuring, "But what about me?" while the LPGA was having a party. It seems that their weak egos were overwhelmed by Caitlin Clark's celebrity alone. The league's response wasn't merely. It was utterly pitiful. They fear development. Do they believe that remaining unchanged is an effective tactic? From my vantage point, it appears that they have a PhD in missing the point.
But there were so many fans who were emailing the organization saying, "How can we watch Caitlin? Can we come to the event? Can you live stream it?" All of these things. And it ended up being put on television. And that was great. Fans were really excited about that. There was so much buzz online. She was trending.
Clark wasn't allowed to simply swing a few golf clubs and call it a day by the LPGA. And they transformed her appearance into a complete spectacle. Records of attendance broken. Fan interaction out of the ordinary. People were setting up tent only to saw Clark as if she were a rock star on a global tour. Here's the worst part. Using that momentum, the LPGA ran away with it. They took advantage of the opportunity, interacted with these new followers, and demonstrated how to market sports for women in the 21st century. The WNBA, however, seemed to have been preoccupied with its own fears and was sleeping at the wheel. The gold mine in front of them was hidden from their view.
And the LPGA was so smart in doing this because they knew that there would be so many eyeballs on Caitlin. So if they put their number one golfer, who is currently leading the sport and pushing the sport ahead, if they put her next to Caitlin for the entire event, that's just great. It's great for Nelly and it's great for everyone else.
And let's not even discuss their justification for not paying attention to Clark. The WNBA dared to suggest that her fame could eclipse well-known celebrities like Brianna Stewart and Aya Wilson. Are you serious? That's similar to a band stating a superstar opening act could steal the show, so avoid it, rather than hugging Clark. And they took the most immature, naive course of action after realizing how she could improve the league as a whole. How can a league that purports to be all about supporting women be so insecure?
I didn't hear one thing about there being too much spotlight on Caitlin Clark, and it should have maybe been on the professional golfers that are there. We didn't hear any of that. And those are the types of things that we have been hearing for the entirety of the WNBA season.
Let's be honest. The WNBA's paranoia is terrible, not just absurd. Their primary concern is safeguarding their own small sandbox, failing to see the wider picture. Caitlin Clark might have brought an army of new admirers who would watch golf and women's basketball. However, nope. The WNBA determined that it was superior to be a gatekeeper and pout, sacrificing development on the altar of their own ego. The league is holding on to a feeling of exclusivity that is self-destructive in addition to being out of date.
There's immediate hesitancy. Is that a word? There's immediate hesitancy about giving Caitlin Clark too much praise. They didn't want to give her too much praise. They didn't want to prop her up too much and forget about everyone else who came before her.
The WNBA managed to find a way to capitalize on star power, while the LPGA recently delivered a world-class tutorial on the subject. A means of being a shining example of what should not be done. When the LPGA first saw Caitlin Clark, they realized she was more than just an athlete. She is a walking, dribbling, marketing miracle and a game changer. Thus, they didn't use her as a side act, but as a collaborator. Naturally, it was a jackpot on steroids. The vitality, unbelievable. The admirers, young. Thanks to Clark, the LPGA became the most sought-after event in town.
If you look at the LPGA Twitter account, it is filled with Caitlin Clark things. Photos of her, a whole video of the fans cheering her, signing things, taking photos, their players hanging out with Caitlin, and obviously they're showing their golfer.
As all was going on, the WNBA watched from the sidelines, clinging to their insecurity. They may have accepted this cultural phenomena and reached previously unthinkable heights by riding the wave. However, they opted to remain petty and guarded, as though their established stars were somehow harmed by inviting Caitlin Clark. Please give me a rest. This is only basic sense. It's not complicated. The WNBA's key to expansion might have been cooperation. They chose to go into full-blown terror instead. Assault on Clark's notoriety, because no one else in women's athletics could possibly shine a bit brighter. Correct?
Didn't want to put her on MVP ladders, didn't want to put her as Rookie of the Year until it was so evident that they had to. There was just so many things that it felt like it was always just a little bit of a push. Like, make sure you don't do too much. We don't want to give her too much praise. We don't want to tweet about her too much. We don't want to post about her too much. We don't want to give her too much media coverage.
Clark was treated like royalty by the LPGA. What did they receive in exchange? Unprecedented interaction on social media. A huge increase in visibility and a wave of younger viewers who, prior to this, most likely couldn't name a single golfer. Caitlin Clark changed the landscape. She didn't just show up. She delivered a tidal wave of fresh attention, illuminated the occasion, and made golf the focal point. Any league with any semblance of vision would desire a portion of such activity.
The LPGA, you can see when it came to them that they were happy that Caitlin Clark was there. They knew exactly the value that Caitlin Clark brought.
Not the WNBA, though. Oh no, they choose to act like the clique from high school that doesn't want anyone and clutch their pearls. Freshly seated at their lunch table, they've persuaded themselves that accepting Clark's enormous attraction would remove their own stars in some way. It's like insecurity on steroids, rather than taking use of Clark's charismatic charm, they decided to shield their own egos, and they're totally missing that cooperation. It's not just smart, it's essential in women's sports. The WNBA was languishing in a corner while the LPGA was busy creating history, pouting and undermining themselves.
We don't want to give her too much praise. We don't want to tweet about her too much. We don't want to post about her too much. We don't want to give her too much media coverage. Let's just make sure that everyone else is also happy. Like, that seemed to be the consensus for the entire WNBA season.
The real deal is Caitlin Clark. Her fans adore her because she is sincere, passionate, and exudes an aura that goes beyond the basketball court. She is the kind of player who can turn anything into a viral phenomenon. Each moment she enters the spotlight, social media explodes. When they see her, children think, I want to be like Caitlin Clark. That is the type of role model who revitalizes entire sports, the kind that inspires innumerable people and attracts new generations of followers. Young athletes.
You see her at this event. You see the kind of noise that this is making. You see that this is trending on social media. You see that SportsCenter, Bleacher Report, all of these places, every media outlet is covering this, and you don't say anything.
And the WNBA dared to say, nope, we don't need that. Incredible, they've lost out on a golden chance to raise engagement, enhance ticket sales, and, yes, create a tidal wave of positive PR. Rather, they decided to pretend that Clark posed a threat. For crying out loud, a threat. Not even the spotlight is being stolen by her. She's making it bigger. Everything was possible for the WNBA. They might have been the talk of the sporting world. However, it's almost terrible to watch them cling to their antiquated way of thinking.
Was the fact that the WNBA posted nothing. Posted zero about Caitlin Clark golfing in this Pro-Am event. If you look at the LPGA.
And the WNBA dared to say, nope, we don't need that. Incredible, they've lost out on a golden chance to raise engagement, enhance ticket sales, and, yes, create a tidal wave of positive PR. Rather, they decided to pretend that Clark posed a threat. For crying out loud, a threat. Not even the spotlight is being stolen by her. She's making it bigger. Everything was possible for the WNBA. They might have been the talk of the sporting world. However, it's almost terrible to watch them cling to their antiquated way of thinking.